Hello, this is Sound Has No Self. Today we are discussing a Yoruba proverb that says Agbalagba Sanyin Bàtá ọmọ kékeré débẹ̀ ó ń yẹ̀gẹ̀ ọrùn ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe rọrùn ni. The meaning: the elderly clamps the teeth. I don't want to do that because it may seem ugly, but when you clamp the teeth, something like that, to dance to the beats. Agbalagba Sanyin Bàtá ọmọ kékeré débẹ̀ ó ń yẹ̀gẹ̀ ọrùn. The elderly dances to Bàtá drum beats with clamped teeth, and a young lad appears to dance to it in the easy does it fashion, in the easy does it manner, as if it's that easy. You don't disrespect other people's journey just because you've been in the corner of your room, your bedroom, thinking for 3 minutes, and then some things that dropped in your mind in the 3 minutes thought process are appearing logical to you. And just because they have appeared logical to only you only, you think that is enough to displace the precious, profound, deep insight that took centuries to receive by our ancestors. And I am saying this because of some recent videos within the social media space in which some people came out to say that some of our age-long proverbs were not right. Just because you had a 3 minutes thought in your bedroom and some wranglings in your head are appearing sensible and logical to you, and you mount the camera to say that proverbs that have been useful to people for a very long time are no longer relevant or useful. Yes, life is dynamic, and there are proverbs that would naturally outlive their relevance. But that would not happen by just an individual sitting in one corner to think for 3 minutes, only to mount a camera to tell us that proverbs that are deeper, far deeper than your 3 minute thoughts are not relevant again. The ways of our forefathers and great grandmothers are not things that you can just shove aside by some quickie thoughts, quickie actions, quickie plans, quickie procedures. No. When I was younger than this, when I was a child, the proverb that I met was Kilori lobe to waru sowo. And then as life progressed, some people came because they've had a brief thought in the corner of their bedroom. They just came and told us that don't say that again, it was not sensible. It should be Kilori lobe to waru owo. And I fell for it. Alongside so many other people. But you know, we have accepted a few of such replacements. But recently, it's becoming so ridiculous that people will just think that by thinking in one corner for 3 minutes, they now have the right to displace proverbs that were received by our ancestors in the heat of passion. Maybe when things were so tough, or when victory later happens after a lot of hardship. Those proverbs are divine, they are spiritual, they are prophetic instructions, and they have stood the test of time for centuries. So if you sit down in the corner of your bedroom and think for 3 minutes and think that it's what you have received seems logical to you, only you, you can present that. You can say, I have received so and so insight, and it is an additional tips to explain certain proverbs. But don't say that those ones are no longer relevant. So when everybody is just popping out here and there to say, oh, yeah, it was wrong the way it was said, it's referring to one community and another community after it. Don't say so what it is. And I sat down and I felt that no, anybody who is trying to replace those old proverbs must just release these, your views, your insights, release them into circulation quietly, without making noise about it, or without trying to rubbish the ones that have guided us for centuries. Release them into circulation quietly, and let's see whether they can stand the stand the test of time. Over time, the ones that are good will continue to travel, and the useless ones arriving from your 3 minutes thought would naturally fizzle out. And because of the recent appearances, I then sat down and compelled myself to think about those ones that we have accepted as replacement again. And I'm beginning to feel that no, I won't use the 3 minutes noodles insights that people are releasing into circulation. Is very meaningful, very reasonable. If you are eating and suddenly you see something that appears strange in your meal, you can begin to look for every solid bit in the soup to confirm whether the thing that appeared strange that you thought that you saw, that you actually saw it. You can begin to pick the locust beans in the soup to see which of them is a strange object. In fact, if you are eating and your teeth encounter a small stone in the food, you can begin to pick the other solid things in the soup to check whether they are also stones. So I am stopping from today. I'm not using it again. And if anybody is bringing out any replacement for our ancient proverbs, do it quietly. Or you can say an additional explanation, additional illustration is this insight that you have received. Stop. I don't want to begin to mention some of the ridiculous examples of replacement that people have offered. I personally, without being immodest, I have released insight into circulation verbally and in some of my books, but I won't distinguish them from they are just in the mix. So over time, if they are useful, life will continue to use them, to keep them. If they can, when they outlive their relevance or their importance or their meaningfulness, they will drop naturally. But I will never sit and say that the age-long insight by which we have been guided are now useless because of a 3-minute thought in one corner of your bedroom. No, that is not acceptable. And the thing is that many of these people do not know that many of our proverbs are story based. They are story related. When they are talking of there is a story behind that. When they are saying they are referring to Olokoshe Anoki, there is a story behind that. When they are talking about Iyawo, there is a story behind that. Many of our proverbs have stories behind them. Adeyi onreli oko, Adeyi nreli oko, onsukun, Adeyi nrogba ewon, onrerin. There is a story behind that. So if you are not familiar, if you're not conversant with these stories, and you just think that your 3 minutes thought can produce a replacement, you will shoot yourself in the leg. Because those who know the stories behind these proverbs will just laugh at you. Agbalagba Sanyin jo Bàtá, ọmọ kékeré débẹ̀, ó ń yẹ̀gẹ̀ ọrùn, ó rò pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe rọrùn ni. Those proverbs didn't just surface by any 3 minutes thought process like you have done. Yes, people will continue to receive insights, and those ones will be useful in addition. On Olusanya Arowolo, you acknowledge. Olusanya Arowolo Adigun, you acknowledge. Thank you for joining in. You can say you have received additional insights to further explain the ancient proverbs, but don't say the ancient proverbs are useless because you are not familiar with the stories behind it, and you think you can just replace it with your 3 minutes thoughts. It is not done that way. Our ancestors they kept those proverbs for us, and the proverbs didn't just land. Many of them have lived for centuries, and they've been tested. They've been tested over time, and we have seen that they continue to remain prophetic instructions that to guide us in different situations of life. So if you want to release proverbs for use in life, release it quietly, let it travel over time. And that's why the proverbs are not, nobody lay claims to proverbs anywhere in the world. The books on proverbs that I've written, the interpretation to English is mine. But the proverbs remain African proverbs by the Yoruba. Yoruba proverbs by the Western Yoruba tribe of Western Nigeria. They are tribal proverbs. Either it is released by you or it's been in circulation for ages. They are African proverbs. As long as we can relate to it, it is issued in our language. They are gifts for our generation and generations after us. Release it quietly. Ṣùgbọ́n má gbàgbé láti túbọ̀ máa júbà àwọn tó kú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tí ìrírí wọn bí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn òwe yìí fún wa. Ǹjọ́ tẹ́ bá ti sọ pé ẹ júbà àwọn ọmọ ẹ fẹ́ sọ pé ilẹ̀ gbọ́n jù wọn lọ. Ìjọ náà ni ẹ rí wípé bàtà kò ṣeé yẹ̀gẹ̀ ọrùn jó. Kò dẹ̀ ṣe níbi òwe yìí nìkan, ní oríṣiríṣi ọ̀nà làwọn èèyàn rí pé àwọn èèyàn kan ti gbìyànjú lórí nǹkan kan pé wọ́n try pé ń kíní, ṣùgbọ́n kàkà kí wọ́n rin ìrìn àjò tiwọn káyé náà wá sọ pé nínú ìrìn àjò tiẹ̀ tó rìn yìí o ìwọ náà pé gédé òfin gbọ̀rọ̀ jẹ́ ká o yege o nípele báyìí nípele tiẹ̀ tó ti yege. Ibi wọ́n á ṣe mú ìtí ẹlòmíì ti ṣe síwájú, bí wọ́n á ṣe bàjẹ́, bí wọ́n á ṣe fẹ́ nu yẹpẹrẹ ìyẹn lẹ́lòmíì á máa wá káàkiri. Ìyẹn ò sì lè fún yín nìyí àfi tí ó bá fún yín ní ẹ̀tẹ̀. Torí Yorùbá bọ̀ wọ́n ní bí ọmọdé bá júbà àgbà àrò kò dalẹ̀. Ẹ má máa jókòó sí kọ̀rọ̀ yàrá yín kẹ́kàn ronú pápá ṣúṣùṣù lórí òwe táwọn àgbààgbà àtijọ́ tí wọ́n filẹ̀ fún wa láti máa tọ́ wa sọ́nà. Kẹ́ wá máa sọ wípé kì í ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́ o, báyìí ní o, ẹ kàn máa yí àwọn èèyàn. Àwọn ẹgbẹ́ yìí ṣe ń ronú yẹn làwọn èèyàn bí wà tí wọ́n ń ronú. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá fi ìṣẹ́jú mẹ́ta ronú, àwọn kan wà tí pé wọ́n jókòó rò. Gbogbo ìgbà wọn fi ń ronú. Wọ́n á tún rí pé lù mẹ́ka ọ̀gá tó yẹn, ní tó ń sọ yẹn irọ́ ni. béèyàn bá wà níwájú ẹ̀ tó ti ṣe dáadáa ẹ gbé wọn lárugẹ ẹ pọ́n wọn lé tẹ́yìn náà bá wá ṣe dáadáa kékeré iyì tí wọ́n ní iyì tí yín náà ní bó ṣe rí nìyẹn ní gbogbo ọ̀nà ẹni bá gbìyànjú tó pegedé ẹ fàdé ẹ̀dẹ̀ lórí ẹ má fi fẹ́ fi àṣeyọrí tí pé fẹ́ fi gbókun ẹ má fi pé kì í ṣe pé ẹ ṣí adé lórí aládé ẹ̀yìn lẹ́yìn fẹ́ fi gbókun ibo ni míyẹn náà àtúnṣe lórí yín láìpẹ́ àti pé gan ẹ tí ẹ lè rí sí lórí ẹ lè rí sí àwọn tó mọ ìyàwó òwe yẹn wọn ò ní jẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ rí sí wọn á máa jáde ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn náà ló máa jáde bí mo ṣe jáde láti wá sọ pé èyí tó wà tẹ́lẹ̀ yẹn ìtumọ̀ inú ẹ̀ ó sì wúlò ẹ máa ń mú lò àwọn èèyàn ti lò yẹn lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ gbọ́ ó ti tọ́ wọn sọ́nà èyí oníbọ̀wọ̀wọ̀ tí wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gbé dé pápá yìí ẹ jẹ́ ká sì wòye wò náà bóyá àwọn èèyàn ò ní dìde láti sọ pé èyí tẹ́ rò pé ó jinlẹ̀ ju tàtijọ́ yẹn kódà kò jinlẹ̀ tó àgbàlagbà ń Sanyin jó bàtà ọmọ kékeré débẹ̀ òun yẹ̀gẹ̀ rùn bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe rọrùn ni. The elder clamps the teeth to dance to Bàtá drum beat and you appear to dance it as if you are dancing to blues. No, it doesn't work that way. That's it on this episode of Sang That's Myself. I'll see you again. And I'd like to thank my companion, Olusoya Arowolo Adigun, once again for joining in. God bless. Have the most blessed day. Bye for now.